All right. Buckle up, everyone, because today's deep dive is taking us straight to Spain.
Oh, I love Spain.
We've got political showdowns, legal battles, even some award-winning literature, all ripped from the headlines of RTVE.
Spain's RTVE.
Exactly. Public radio and television, just like we have here, but, with a little more flamenco flair.
Well, and the stories we're diving into today, they really give you a feel for what's going on in Spain right now, Like, we're not just looking at headlines. We're getting into the heart of the matter.
The soul of Spain.
Exactly.
So let's start with this first article. And I gotta say, the title alone is giving telenovela drama. Feijóo accuses Sánchez of being the mastermind behind the Koldo plot.
Ooh, yeah, that one's a wild ride. It's
Yeah.
basically a political showdown between Alberto Núñez Feijóo, he's the leader of the People's Party, the opposition party,
Right.
and the current Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, from the Socialist Workers' Party.
So two big names in Spanish politics going head-to-head.
Oh, absolutely. And Feijóo is not holding back. He's accusing Sánchez of being directly involved in this whole Koldo plot thing,
What?
which, by the way, sounds like something out of a spy thriller.
Right. And get this, he even demands Sanchez's resignation, like right then and there in Parliament.
Oh, yeah, it was intense. You could cut the tension with a knife. But see, here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more.
This very public accusation, like right in the middle of Parliament, it comes right after the People's Party files a lawsuit against the Socialist Workers' Party, accusing them of, get this, illegal financing.
So they're accusing the other side of the very thing they're being accused of.
It's a classic political power play.
Bold move.
It's like they're playing 4D chess over there.
And then, to add even more fuel to the fire, we find out that Sánchez actually apologized for the Koldo plot.
He did, during that same parliamentary session. Publicly apologized.
Wait, so is he admitting guilt? Or is
Yeah.
this like a strategic move to calm the storm?
That's the million-euro question, isn't it? The article doesn't really say, which honestly makes it even more intriguing.
Ugh, the drama. I'm already invested in this story. But speaking of intrigue, Article 2 takes us from the political arena to the courtroom. Political reactions to the indictment of the Attorney General. So now we've got corruption allegations flying around like confetti.
Yeah, this one is a doozy. So get this, the Attorney General of Spain, Álvaro García Ortiz,
Okay.
he gets indicted by the Supreme Court,
Whoa, what for?
allegedly leaking confidential information tied to a tax fraud investigation.
Juicy. So how are people reacting to this? I'm guessing the People's Party is having a field day.
Oh, 100%. They are going all in, calling for García Ortiz to resign immediately, saying this whole indictment just proves there's this pattern of corruption within Sanchez's government.
I bet. Are they the only ones saying that?
Oh, no, they've got backup. Vox, that's the far-right party in Spain, they're also calling for his head. They're saying that the government is basically robbing the country blind.
Oh.
Right. Intense. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's this other party, Podemos. They're left-leaning, and they're coming at it from a totally different angle.
Okay, I'm listening.
They're saying this indictment, totally politically motivated. They're pointing to this power-sharing agreement that gives the People's Party a lot of influence when it comes to appointing judges.
So they're saying the whole system might be rigged against them.
That's exactly what they're implying. And it gets even juicier.
Juicier? Is that possible?
Oh, yeah. Because the tax fraud investigation at the center of all of this, it just so happens to involve a prominent People's Party politician.
Of course it does. It's like watching a political thriller unfold in real time.
And her partner.
You can't make this stuff up. So are we talking about a genuine pursuit of justice here, or is this just a strategic manipulation of the legal system for political gain?
Again, that's the question, right?
Right.
And it really makes you think about the bigger picture. How can people have faith in a justice system that seems to be swayed by political agendas? It's something that's happening all over the world, and it's a problem.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
But for now, let's take a break from all this political drama and shift gears a bit. Our final article takes us into the world of literature with Paloma Sánchez Garnica, Planeta 2024. It is the victory of truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little something different.
Only in Spain can you go from cutthroat politics to literary awards in the blink of an eye, right?
You're not wrong. You know, it's almost poetic when you think about it.
Oh,
This whole idea of truth and justice
right.
being at the heart of this literary award.
So we're talking about Paloma Sánchez Garnica
Yeah.
winning Spain's biggest literary prize
The Premio Plana.
for a novel about truth, justice, family secrets.
And historical trauma.
It's like life is imitating art.
In this case,
Art is imitating life.
yeah, you got it.
It's all connected.
Her novel, Victoria, it's set in post-World War II Berlin in the United States.
Okay.
And it tackles these really heavy themes.
Like truth, justice.
Yeah, and the long-lasting effects of trauma.
Wow.
And, get this, the novel also delves into the Tuskegee syphilis study,
Oh, wow.
which, if you don't know about it, it's a really dark chapter in American history,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
where Black men were unknowingly subjected to these unethical medical experiments.
So we're talking about, like, really heavy stuff here.
Really heavy stuff.
And it makes you think about the article called this a victory of truth. Like, bringing a story like that to light,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Huge.
And it makes you think about the responsibility that artists and writers have
Oh, absolutely.
to hold up a mirror to society.
Even when it's tough, even when it's...
Especially when it's tough.
Especially when it's tough, you're right.
To talk about the difficult things.
Exactly, the things that we need to talk about.
And what I find really fascinating is how Sanchez Garnica takes this historical event and she weaves it into the personal stories of her characters.
It's brilliant.
It's like she's showing us that these big, huge ideas like truth and justice, they actually play out in our everyday lives.
In the smallest moment.
In our relationships, in our families. It's not just some abstract concept. It's real life.
It's about human beings.
Exactly.
And how we treat each other.
Now, the article also mentioned the runner-up for the award.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Beatriz Serrano.
Tell me about her book.
Okay, so her novel, Fuego en la Garganta.
Okay.
Totally different vibe, but just as fascinating.
Okay.
It's about this millennial, kind of an outsider, trying to find their place in a digital world.
It's like she's capturing the anxieties of a whole generation.
Right. Like, how do we connect with each other when everything's online?
So we've got Sanchez Garnica exploring the past and Serrano diving into the present.
And what's amazing is that the Premio Planeta has recognized both.
It's like they're capturing these two sides of the Spanish experience, right? It makes you realize how powerful literature can be.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's not just about escaping reality.
It's about understanding it.
Yeah. And these two novels, they're like two sides of the same coin.
I like that.
They both offer us a different lens through which we can view what's going on in Spain.
I think you're spot on. And, you know, what I find really interesting is this idea of accountability that runs through all of this.
Oh, tell me more.
So we've got these political parties demanding resignations, pointing fingers.
Blaming each other.
Exactly. And then we have Sanchez Garnica's novel, which forces us to confront the consequences.
The consequences of what happens when we don't hold people accountable.
Of unchecked power, of injustice.
When we look the other way.
And it makes you wonder, are we doing enough to hold people accountable today?
Ooh, good question.
Not just in Spain, but everywhere.
That's something for all of us to think about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny how these things connect, you know.
You're telling me political scandals, literary awards, historical injustices who knew they all went together like paella and sangria.
It's like we've been on a crash course on the Spanish zeitgeist.
The what now?
The zeitgeist. The spirit of the times, the mood, the vibes.
Okay, I'm with you. And the vibes in Spain seem to be not complicated. We've seen the debates, the accusations, the anxieties.
But also this deep yearning for truth, a desire for a fairer future.
Okay, so maybe a little hope sprinkled in with all that paella and sangria.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, maybe, just maybe, all this upheaval, it could lead to some real positive change.
I like the way you think. So instead of ending on a downer, let's talk about what we can learn from all of this.
Well, for starters, the road to justice. Yeah, it's rarely a straight shot.
Tell me about it.
We see it with the whole attorney general thing, the debate about judges, the lines get blurry, politics and justice, they get tangled up.
Makes you wonder who you can really trust.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have a strong, independent judiciary.
One that's fair, impartial, you know, the real deal.
Exactly. That can resist those pressures, those influences. A system that works for everyone, not just the powerful.
Okay, so that's a big takeaway for sure. What else?
Well, this idea of accountability, right? It keeps popping up.
It's the thread that connects it all.
Sanchez Garnica's novel, it reminds us that we can't just bury uncomfortable truths, especially about the past.
No sweeping things under the rug.
Because those things, they have a way of resurfacing. And when they do, they can have a ripple effect.
It's like she's saying, hey, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Right. And it goes beyond just Spain. This is a human story. It's about owning up to our mistakes, making amends, and striving to do better.
So where do we go from here? What are we supposed to do with all of this?
Well, I think it starts with asking ourselves some tough questions. Are we living up to our own ideals? Are we holding ourselves and our leaders accountable?
Are we creating a world where everyone has a chance to thrive?
Exactly. These are big questions, but they're worth wrestling with.
They are. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into Spanish current events. But before we go, I want to hear from you, our listeners. What resonated with you today? How do these stories from Spain connect with your own experiences? Hit us up on social media, send us an email. Let's keep this conversation going.
Because the more we talk, the more we learn, the better equipped we are to create the kind of world we want to live in.
Well said. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep those deep dives going.